dimensions. Evolution of foreign policy, as I was telling you. So remember the concepts that we were discussing in the last class. What were they? The basic concepts related to international relations. Who are state actors and non-state actors? State actors in international relations, state actors, non-state actors. Okay. So what are state actors? Obviously nations, what we perceive as nations today, they are state actors. Other elements including NGOs, the MNCs, business organizations for that matter, or terrorist groups which are not at all related to or doesn't have any connection to the state, they are considered as non-state actors. So what do you mean by this concept called as balance of power? Balance of power and deterrence. The concept of deterrence and associated concepts related to this: mutually assured destruction, MAD. Remember them? So balance of power is the ability, or deterrence is the ability of one actor to create that fear in the minds of other actor, so that the other actor will not involve in any kind of hostile actions. That is deterrence. Coming to balance of power, deterrence created would lead to what? Would lead to balancing the power of two actors, so that one will not venture to take an action against the other. So balance of power is necessary in a world which is divided on the basis of ideologies, which is divided on the basis of hard power. Okay. So then we have discussed the concept of power, and power being divided into multiple types. One is hard power, next is soft and smart power. These are the types of power we have in international relations perspective. Hard power is using military strength and economic sanctions. Smart power is not tangible in nature, whereas hard power is tangible. Smart power is intangible elements, including culture, religion, customs and traditions. All those elements become part and parcel of this soft power. Next is smart power. This idea of soft power is given by Joseph Nye, a theorist called as Joseph Nye. Then we have smart power, the ability of any actor to utilize both hard and soft power in proportions it can use in order to achieve something called as national interest. This is what we have discussed regarding power. Next is foreign policy. We have discussed the concept of foreign policy. Although it is not mentioned in the syllabus, it is necessary. Normally these kind of concepts, there is no necessity for them to be mentioned in the syllabus. Foreign policy is the tools, techniques, strategies that any actor employs in order to achieve the desired objective. What is that desired objective? National interest. So to meet something called as national interest, it comes up with a lot of tools and strategies. One of the tools that we have discussed as part of foreign policy is, what is that tool, important tool? Diplomacy. What are the types of diplomacy we have? We have tracks of diplomacy, track 1, track 1.5, track 2 diplomacies. Okay. So that is the concept related to foreign policy. What else we have discussed besides foreign policy? Yes, the terminologies, other terminologies like geopolitics, geoeconomics. And we have discussed the determinants of foreign policy. There are certain determinants which are of importance while our foreign policy is crafted. What is the reason why the foreign policy of India is in such a manner as on today? There are certain determinants which led to crafting of Indian foreign policy and the situation currently. One of the important determinant, if I ask you in priority, what should be given importance? Leadership and personality should be given importance. Second in priority, that is public opinion. World public opinion and the domestic public opinion also play an important role in the foreign policy of any nation. Okay. Next, coming to another concept that we need to focus on, that is evolution of foreign policy of India. Evolution of foreign policy of India can be discussed through various phases. Okay. Like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, based on the leaders present at that point of time and the economic situation of India, domestic situation you can consider. So based on that, it is divided into multiple phases. Like phase 1 is between 1964 to, you can say 1947 to 1964. Okay. Second phase is between 1966 to 1991. In this you have a lot of phases in this. 1966 to 68 is one phase. Okay. 1964, you can say here from 1964 to 91. 64 to 66 is one phase, 66 to 77 is one phase, 1980 to 84 is another phase, 1984 to 89, 91 to 96. I'll flip this slide, don't worry. So 91 to 96. So until 1991 we can consider, fine. So until 1991. Then again from 1991 to 96 we have another phase. So second phase includes many prime ministers of India, and it can be divided into what? 1964 to 66 is one sub phase. Next we have 66 to 77, the first stint of Indira Gandhi. For the first time Indira Gandhi came to power. She was ruling, she was the prime minister between 66 to 77. Again 77 to 80 she was out of the power. Again 80 to 84 she came to power, second stint of Indira Gandhi. Next after that 84 to 88, assassination of Indira Gandhi. After that Rajiv Gandhi came to power. Again after Rajiv Gandhi, since 1991 we had another phase. Okay, you can say 91 to 96 is another phase where P.V. Narasimha Rao, with some realistic kind of foreign policy, realist foreign policy perspectives, he has given us, he has shaped Indian foreign policy. Again, right? Again 1998 to 2004, that is the third phase you can consider. Yes, this is third, and you can consider this as fourth phase. This is NDA 1 phase. What is NDA? National Democratic Alliance. For the first time BJP came to power. 1982 the party was established. Before that the ideological leanings were with the Janata Party. 1977 to 80, all those individuals who were against this Congress ideology, they were forming as Janata. Later BJP formed as a result of these parties which were against Congress. 1982 BJP was established. 1998 for the first time BJP with its allies came to power, National Democratic Alliance. So between 1998 to 2004 we have seen a lot of changes in the foreign policy, and we have seen the same kind of changes since 2014 as well. Okay, so that is fourth phase. Again between 2004 to 2014, the same government, that was UPA 1 plus UPA 2 governments. What is UPA here? What is UPA here? What is the difference between NDA and UPA? Not UPI, UPA. United Progressive Alliance, that is Congress Party, led by Congress Party. So from here you can understand that coalition governments played an important role. Whenever coalition governments are part of the government, definitely foreign policy will be influenced by states also. States, because states contribute to creation of power at the center. That is the reason why whenever you see coalition governments form at the center, obviously states, they have their own say. Okay, so this is fifth phase, you can say. Sixth phase is between 2014 to 2024. In this we have 2014 to 19 and 2019 to, you can say, till now, post 2024 also. Okay, it is considered, this phase is considered as part of NDA 2. It is BJP leading from the front, all the coalition partners. NDA 2. 4 to 14 is United Progressive Alliance, that is Congress Party led alliance to form the government at the center. Again they came to power in 2009. 2009 to 14 also we had UPA 2, and again 2014 to 24, 2014 to 19 was NDA. You can say NDA 2, both of them are NDA 2, and now you can consider it as 3.0. We are considering it as Modi to 3.0. Modi once came, that is 1.0, 2014 to 19. 2.0 is between 19 to 24. Now the foreign policy perspectives between or after 2024 are being considered as 3.0. Let us go through the phases once again to understand them clearly. So phase 1 is between 1947 to 64. It was led from the forefront by Jawaharlal Nehru. Even before independence also, Indian National Congress Committee for Foreign Affairs, it was led by Jawaharlal Nehru. So Nehru always had this, I mean, he was gravitating towards this ideas of foreign policy, how India should conduct its foreign policy post-independence also. Okay, he was given this chairman of this foreign policy committee of Indian National Congress, Foreign Affairs Committee. So that was the reason why post-independence, being a prime minister, he has kept foreign affairs ministry with himself. So he was both prime minister and foreign affairs minister for India. Okay, so 47 to 64, that was Jawaharlal Nehru and the idealist perspective of Indian foreign policy. Again, 64 to 66, we had one gentleman, that is Lal Bahadur Shastri, LBS, Lal Bahadur Shastri. 64 to 66, we had Lal Bahadur Shastri. 66 to 77, Indira Gandhi. We had seen a lot of changes, domestic level also, we have experienced emergency for the first time, 75 to 77. Post-emergency in 77, when elections were conducted, she was boosted out of power, with majorities being given to Janata Party. Again, 80 she came to power, 80 to 84. That is the second time that Indira Gandhi came to power, and she has learned a lot from imposition of emergency and the impact of emergency on people and the people's response, how to conduct our foreign policy in such a manner that it is beneficial for the country and also people accept it. 80 to 84. So next is 84 to 88, you can consider. 84 to 88, who was the leader? What is the leadership here? 84 to 88, we have Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi also, he followed the principles of NAM. He followed, because he's part of this family, he followed the principles of Jawaharlal Nehru and also Indira Gandhi. Both, he was a realist and he was tilting towards USA, because at that point of time the world was experiencing a lot of revolutions. One of the important revolutions among them is the information technology revolution. So it is necessary for Rajiv Gandhi to conduct foreign affairs in such a manner that he gets benefited from the relations with the USA. Technology, drawing technology, importing technology from these Western countries was the agenda at that point of time. And he was also believer of disarmament completely. He was not believing in non-proliferation. He is a believer of disarmament completely, because he has studied in the West. He stood for liberal values. So disarmament was one idea he was believing in, he has continued it. Okay. Another aspect is his novelty, his innovation in foreign policy has to be considered. Because when he came to power in 1984, in between 85 to 86, he has visited China once and said that in spite of having difficult relationship with China, we should not stop cooperating with China. For the first time after many years, he went to China and he has met the premier of China, saying that if we start initiating cultural and commercial relations at a later date, we can also solve border dispute. If at all we completely sever the relationship with China, that will not give us any benefit. So one of the innovations in the foreign policy we had witnessed. Okay, 91 to 96, P.V. Narasimha Rao came to power, and at that point of time, what are the important things happening domestically? We have opened up our economy, 91, and IMF has given us support only because Indian foreign policy is tilting towards the West. We need to obviously tilt towards the West. You need to support USA. In that context, the foreign policy between 1991 to 96, if you observe, we have tilted towards the West, and we were getting a lot of benefits from IMF and other international organizations. I will discuss every phase, don't worry. I'm giving an overview. Okay, 1998 to 2004, who was the Prime Minister of India? 1998 to 2004, he was not Manmohan Singh. It is Vajpayee, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Atal Bihari Vajpayee came to power 98 to 2004. Again, 1998 Pokhran. We had seen 1974 Pokhran 1 under Indira Gandhi. 1998 we had seen Pokhran 2, and we have announced to the world that we are a full-fledged nuclear power. Okay, and he is known for bus diplomacy, where he went from Delhi to Lahore. He has concentrated on neighborhood. Whenever NDA comes to power or BJP is heading the foreign policy, obviously neighbors become important. Bus diplomacy is one aspect. He went from Delhi to Lahore, signed one agreement also, that is called as Lahore Agreement or Lahore Declaration. So 98 to 2004 was realist, one of the assertion that India had seen, realist foreign policy. 2004 to 14, Manmohan Singh, though he doesn't speak much, but foreign policy has spoken through a lot of
innovative thoughts he got through his foreign policy perspectives. Manmohan Singh regime between 2004 to 14, headed by Manmohan Singh. Next, 14 to 24, we have got some insights of how Narendra Modi's leadership is different from other leaders and how NDA 1 is different from NDA 2. I have given you two dimensions of Narendra Modi's diplomacy. One is personal diplomacy, second is retail diplomacy. Personal diplomacy is believing that having personal contacts with the prime ministers will give you more dividends rather than interacting now and then. Like we have taken the examples of Netanyahu or other prime ministers with whom Prime Minister Modi directly interacts with. Also, what is retail diplomacy? Retail diplomacy is interacting with the smaller nations also, even less important entities also. He visited smaller nations, given importance for Central Asia, gave importance for West Asian nations, even island nations were also taken into consideration, into confidence by this Prime Minister. So we will go through the first phase. It is between 1947 to 64. So who was the leader? Helm of the affairs, Jawaharlal Nehru. So what sort of foreign policy we had seen under him? 47 to 64, we are going through the first phase. Got to know the overview, you have got to know. Now it is necessary for us to know the difference. That is why overview is important. What has happened between 47 to 24? That is what overview is. Okay. So starting from the first phase, 47 to 64, who was the helm of the affair? Had the helm of the affairs? Jawaharlal Nehru. What sort of foreign policy was following? Idealism, idealist foreign policy. Okay. What were the issues happening under him? What was the context of foreign policy under Jawaharlal Nehru? One aspect we can understand is after independence, post independence, or you can talk about decolonization. Decolonization has happened. Many new nations came into existence. Okay. India is one such nation which is also new, and it has tried to come up with its own unique foreign policy of not being dependent on any other nation or not being influenced by any nation, because we valued freedom so much that we don't want to lose the freedom just by joining certain power blocks. Because here if you observe 1947 to 91, this is the phase of Cold War in the world politics. That is when bipolar world order was existing. 1947 to 91. That is why the second phase we consider between 1947 to 91, although post Rajiv Gandhi have divided that into another phase. Okay. So decolonization has happened. Valuing freedom and independence is important, and India has played a leadership role. What is that leadership role? Leader of what? Leader of all the third world countries. Okay. It is not for India only. We want all other third world countries to have their own foreign policy perspectives. That is why we call it as democratization of international relations. Democratization of international relations. All the nations who are third world countries should be able to craft their own foreign policy. That is what democratization of international relations is. And we have come up with this idea that is called as non-alignment movement. We have discussed in detail of what non-alignment movement is. Okay, what is this NAM? Is it isolation? Is it neutrality? Is it non-intervention? So a big no for all these things. NAM is not isolation. It is, if it is necessary, if the world situation is demanding, India was ready for intervening. Example I gave you was the context of Indonesia. When Indonesia was again being captured by Dutch, India was at the forefront to support Indonesia. Indonesia got freedom. And Sukarno was one person who was part of this non-alignment movement. Sukarno is the leader of Indonesia. So non-alignment movement was crafted. Even today it is relevant. So Nehru is known for giving this idea called as NAM, which can be used as a foreign policy dimension even today. Okay. What else we have seen under Jawaharlal Nehru? What were the events happening under Jawaharlal Nehru? One aspect was war with Pakistan, 1947-48. War with Pakistan. What is the reason? War with Pakistan. What irritant we have with Pakistan? So much that we need to go to war with Pakistan.
Kashmir. Kashmir is the issue. We have discussed why Kashmir is an issue. Because it is a consequence or vestige of partition. It is unfinished business for Pakistan. What Pakistan feels about Jammu and Kashmir, its idea is that Jammu and Kashmir is unfinished business of Pakistan. It has to capture Jammu and Kashmir. Until and unless it is capturing Jammu and Kashmir, its business of partition is not solved yet, resolved yet. So it is unfinished business. It has tried to capture by sending its military, but it said that the tribals of Northwest Frontier Province are trying to invade Jammu and Kashmir. Raja Hari Singh has signed the instrument of accession. Indian army was sent and we were pushing them until a point. Beyond that, we were unable to do that. Another reason why we were not pushing them behind that border, we call it as line of control. One reason was Jawaharlal Nehru went to United Nations in 1948 because he is an idealist. In spite of having military strength, instead of pushing them completely into the border that was drawn by Cyril Radcliffe. Cyril Radcliffe was a person who the commission was appointed for the purpose of drawing border between India and Pakistan. You know about Cyril Radcliffe, right? Radcliffe Commission was appointed. Post-partition, one border has to be drawn between India and Pakistan. Both for India and West Pakistan, India and East Pakistan. So Cyril Radcliffe has drawn a boundary and we haven't pushed the Pakistani army until the boundary. Okay, that was the reason why we have this territory called as, Pak occupied, we consider it as Pak occupied Kashmir, POK. We have this territory called as POK today. Okay, the reason why he went to United Nations has given us one solution. UN has provided solution. By it has to be solved through plebiscite. What is a plebiscite? What is the meaning of plebiscite? Have you heard about this term called as plebiscite? What is the meaning of that? People's opinion is taken into consideration. Then what is the difference between plebiscite and referendum? Referendum need not be obeyed. Into consideration. Referendum on what matters normally? Referendum is on matters of law. Any law, if a legislature is making a law, if a legislature is coming up with a law to take the opinion of the people, taking the vote of the people again, then we will go for a referendum. Second opinion, we can say. If it is approved again by the people, obviously we will continue it. But on matters of territory, on matters of, or you can say matters which are having high gravity, territorial matters, or border conflicts, or water issues, water sharing issues, all these cannot be solved through referendum. We need one more apparatus that is called as plebiscite. So plebiscite normally it is conducted on territorial matters, on larger aspects, not on laws. Okay, so it asked us to conduct a plebiscite. Is it possible to conduct a plebiscite in Jammu and Kashmir at that point of time? Because it is a heavily militarized zone. Both Pakistani army and Indian army were militarizing the territory. And it is legal for India because Raja Hari Singh has signed this instrument of accession, and Jammu and Kashmir is part and parcel of Union of India, and it becomes inevitable for Indian government to take care of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so this POK, they call it as Azad Kashmir. Azad Kashmir. What is the meaning of Azad Kashmir? Independent Kashmir. Independent Kashmir, princely state, it wanted to be independent. It doesn't mean that you can capture it and do whatever you want with Kashmir. Okay, as a princely state, it wanted to be independent. It doesn't want control of either Pakistan or India. But under certain circumstances, due to the extremist attitude of Pakistan, it became imminent for Raja Hari Singh to sign this instrument of accession. He was happy at that point of time. Okay, so Constituent Assembly has added this Article 370 and 35A regarding rights of property and everything. 370 was removed recently in 2019, eliminating this special status for Jammu and Kashmir. As per this 370, what were the special things that we have got for Jammu and Kashmir? A separate constitution we have got. They can maintain a national flag. There is a different language. They have their own parliament or assembly. Okay, and Jammu and Kashmir was administered by these presidential orders. Okay, and the rights they enjoy, they were different from mainland Indian citizens. Besides that, the economic support they have got, it is completely different. Normally, for normal states, we get this 70 to 30 ratio or 60 to 40 ratio of funds. 60 from center, 40 should be given by the states. Whereas for Jammu and Kashmir and northeastern states, what is the formula? 90 to 10, sometimes 100% funds given by the center itself. Okay, these many benefits we have got, and the solution United Nations has provided us, which cannot be implemented even today, that is plebiscite. Plebiscite can only be conducted in two circumstances. Two circumstances have to be satisfied. One thing is military of both the nations have to be removed. Military of both the nations, both India and Pakistan, has to be removed from Jammu and Kashmir in order to conduct a plebiscite. Now tell me, is it possible to remove the military? What are the concerns both India and Pakistan are having? If at all India takes out its military, Pakistan will completely capture Jammu and Kashmir. Is there any scope for that? Yes, that is a valid point. Okay, Pakistan obviously doesn't want to remove its military. Okay, so that is plebiscite. One solution it has given us is plebiscite and bilateral solution through negotiations. We have sought this bilateral solution rather than going for referendum, but that is also not a possibility even today. Bilateral solution, we have tried sorting out the issue through bilateral negotiations many times. Okay, understood the framework, what has happened with respect to Jawaharlal Nehru's approach to Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, Radcliffe, Cyril Radcliffe Commission. Not LOC, I am talking about Radcliffe line. LOC is a different thing. Radcliffe is this line we are talking about. This is the line drawn between India and Pakistan. This is a line which came into existence through Shimla Agreement. In the course of time, we'll get to know. There was an agreement in 1972 with Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi has signed that agreement because at that point of time, we were intervening in the creation of Bangladesh. Post the Bangladesh creation, General Manik Shah was the reason why he has made Pakistani army to submit to us, and they were made to sign this agreement called as Shimla Agreement. Shimla Agreement, one of the principles of Shimla Agreement is acceptance of one ceasefire line. It is not mutually agreed territory or boundary line, mutually or internationally agreed boundary. It is just a ceasefire line. Means the armies of each nation should not cross beyond this border. If at all they are crossing, it might lead to escalation of tensions. That is why we have come up with this line called as LOC. Okay, that was materialized through 1972 Shimla Agreement. We'll get to know in the course of time. So understood the idea what has happened with respect to Kashmir. Okay, is there any doubt on this?